Imagine for a moment that you are a teenager. According to our viewership analytics, some of you watching this won't have to imagine very hard, but some of you will have to really stretch your mind to remember what that time was like. Either way, put yourself in the shoes of an adolescent for a little while. You're anxious and uncomfortable in your body, desperately trying to juggle your responsibilities at school, your burgeoning sense of young adulthood, your social life, the looming specter of the future, and a dozen other things that might make you stress sweat through your hoodie. Somehow, in between the classes and extracurriculars, the standardized tests, and missed party invites, you found someone who wants to go out with you. You're not sure what they see in you, but they must see something. Several months into the relationship, you decide to try and take things to the next level. You wait for your parents to leave town. You pick out the perfect Netflix and chill material, dim the lights, and cozy up together on the couch. You go in for the kiss and, shockingly, it goes over well. Then, just when things are starting to heat up, something doesn't feel quite right. You feel an overwhelming pain wash over your body. There's a flash of blinding bright light that burns into your retinas, and everything goes black. When you finally wake up, your partner is gone. Only a grisly smear of dark blood remaining, staining the couch where they sat like some kind of gory chalk outline. Somehow you know they're gone. They're never coming back, and it is all your fault. It sounds like the opening scene of a horror film, but for one unfortunate young man known as SCP-213, it was all too real. SCP-213 was recovered by the SCP Foundation in Palo Alto, California after his arrest. The local police department brought him in on charges of homicide after he accidentally vaporized his girlfriend. There were undercover Foundation agents in the Palo Alto Police Department who, recognizing this case as evidence of an anomaly, made a report and were ordered to bring the boy in for containment. During the initial attempts to apprehend 213, he vaporized the agents as soon as they made physical contact with him. 4 agents were lost before 213 could be successfully brought into a Foundation facility, where his anomalous properties could be better studied. SCP-213 is able to sever the bonds between atoms in any solid matter he comes into physical contact with. During this process, there is a bright flash of light, and SCP-213 experiences extreme pain, often to the point of passing out. Like most sentient beings in containment, he is considered a Euclid-class SCP. SCP-213 was initially contained within a high-security cell in Site-77. The cell is surrounded by a 10-meter wide zone pumped full of gases that are corrosive to human skin. SCP-213 was informed of the nature of his containment. Outside of the containment unit, 2 armed guards were stationed with high-pressured hoses, pepper spray, and polymer web grenades in case of any escape. However, containment of 213 soon proved difficult, thanks to the nature of his seemingly uncontrollable ability. 213 made 7 escape attempts before one was eventually successful. He requested an interview with the researcher assigned to his case, knowing that when she entered his containment facility, the containment procedures would be temporarily disengaged. He vaporized the remaining containment measures and escaped from his holding cell. The head researcher attempted to grab him by the arm, but was promptly vaporized, dissolving into a pile of blood and tissue. 2 more agents who tried to block 213's path without touching him met similar fates. After making his way into the hall, 213 quickly became disoriented, his mind muddled from a mixture of pain, panic, and lack of familiarity with the layout of the facility. He was unable to find an exit and was cornered in the staff break room, the door barricaded with a chair where he was attempting to vaporize a portion of the floor. At this point, he was too exhausted to disintegrate any more matter and collapsed from exhaustion just as a group of agents broke down the door. He was, with a great deal of care and the use of a gurney to avoid any unnecessary physical contact, returned to his original containment cell. Several weeks later, SCP-213 breached containment again. However, this time, it was completely unintentional. Security camera footage from 3:15 a.m. on the day in question showed 213's bed and a portion of the floor vaporized in a flash of light, after which he fell through the opening in the floor and landed in the basement. This incident made it clear that 213 had far less control over his ability than previously believed. Rather than a purposely destructive entity, he was simply a kid who destroyed what he touched and could not do anything about it. If it could happen accidentally this time, when else could it happen? Could he potentially someday vaporize himself without meaning to? Following this containment breach and some time to recuperate from the injuries he sustained from his fall, 213 offered to be more cooperative with the research into his condition. He agreed to comply with a series of experiments as well as routine physical examinations, and whatever else it might take to unlock the secrets of the vaporization effect. Just like the Foundation, he wanted to know why he caused this destruction and how he could stop it from happening. During one of the agreed-upon physical examinations, the research team discovered something concerning. There were smooth nodules, growths of abnormal tissue on 213's back placed in the shape of a perfect square, with exactly 15 centimeters between each one. The nodules were determined not to be tumors or cancerous in any way. They did not seem to cause the subject any pain, and he could not remember how long they had been there. Perhaps they had been there his entire life. Nothing resembling the nodules or their precise placement could be found in any public medical records or research journals. It became clear that the strange spots on 213's back were likely somehow related to his anomalous ability. Medical personnel were assigned to monitor 213 in his containment and watch for any changes, and follow-up examinations were scheduled to keep an eye on the nodules and any other potential physical symptoms. A week after the discovery of the first 4 nodules, 213 was brought back into the examination room for a follow-up inspection. There was nothing new found on the subject's back, the original nodules remaining in their place and exhibiting no change in size or shape. However, upon inspection of his hands, the research team discovered 2 more nodules. When asked if he was experiencing any pain or discomfort as a result of these nodules, 213 insisted that he only felt some mild itching and irritation on the skin around them. A doctor pressed gently on one of the nodules with his fingertips, and it did not budge. With the appearance of these additional lumps on 213's hands, the research team opted to perform a biopsy on one of them and extract a sample. A local anesthetic was administered to 213's left hand, and the doctor attempted to slice into the surface of the nodule with a scalpel. As soon as the scalpel's blade came into contact with his skin, there was a sizzling sound, a blinding flash, and when the attending researchers had regained clear vision of the room, the scalpel had disappeared. SCP-213 insisted that he had not deliberately vaporized the scalpel and offered to try again. The second scalpel met the same fate as the first, as did the third and then a 4th scalpel. After the 5th scalpel disappeared, the testing was suspended for the day, and 213 was sent back to his containment chamber to rest for the next day's testing. From that day on, 213's demeanor changed. He was less enthusiastic about continuing to research his condition, complaining of a pervasive sense of exhaustion no matter how much he slept, ate, or hydrated. He complained of extreme pain in his back and stomach, which did not respond to treatment with physical therapy or painkillers. In spite of 213's newfound apathy, the research team was determined to persist. They had come this far in their quest to uncover the mysteries of SCP-213, and they were not about to let their subjects' discomfort and a few lost scalpels stop them now. The plan for another follow-up exam and a new attempt to perform a biopsy were cut short when 213 was spotted via security camera having a seizure in his containment cell. He was moved to intensive care and kept there for further observation. Over the course of the previous 48 hours, 10 more nodules had appeared on his back, each separated by a distance of 5 centimeters. The nodules formed no discernible pattern. Once stabilized, 213 was returned to his cell, where more medical personnel were stationed alongside the guards in order to monitor his condition and watch for any further seizures or other adverse effects. 1 week later, everything would change, and the true nature of SCP-213 would finally be revealed. 213 requested his next physical exam, claiming that he had noticed something wrong with him while taking a shower. While washing his back, he was shocked to find the skin suddenly smoothed and unblemished. The nodules had disappeared, seemingly overnight. However, he was more concerned than relieved. He could not shake the feeling that, even though he could not see it, something worse had replaced them. A cursory examination could not identify anything in place of the nodules. However, a closer inspection revealed that there was indeed something there. Where there had once been lumps of tissue, there were now thin cuts, like surgical incisions less than 1 millimeter in width. Guards rushed to the examination room where the sound of a terrified scream echoed through the halls. They found the medical examiner white as a sheet and trembling. While she had been examining the incisions on 213's skin, the one on his left palm had opened to reveal an eye. Though she could not explain how, she knew that the eye was watching her, that it could see what she was doing and wanted to understand it. 213 was permanently transferred to a medical wing of the facility and placed under constant observation. The appearance of this eye sparked a new hypothesis among the research team. SCP-213's anomalous properties are not his own. Indeed, his body is not his own either. Some sort of parasite is residing within him, watching his surroundings through eyes buried beneath the skin. It is vaporizing matter in an attempt to protect itself from harm, and possibly as a means of feeding itself. When the eye first appeared and the parasite hypothesis was introduced, SCP-213 began to panic. He begged the research team to remove the parasite from his body, to cut him open and extract it by any means necessary. They refused, and 213 had to be sedated in order to keep him from attacking any of the medical staff. Whatever is living inside of 213, it does not show up on medical scans. It cannot or will not communicate with the research team about its nature or what it might want. The more the medical team tests on it, the larger it seems to grow, with more and more tiny incisions appearing on 213's body through which the entity can look. SCP-213 had been placed in a medically induced coma until the parasitic entity can be better understood and perhaps even removed from his body. In the meantime, perhaps it is better for him and every living thing around him if he just stays asleep. Now go check out SCP-426, I Am a Toaster, and SCP-999, The Tickle Monster if you're in the mood for some SCPs that are more silly than scary.